Hello, welcome back to Oracle DBA tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to discuss about blocking. So the first thing is that what is blocking, and then why it happens. So basically, blocking occurs when one session is holding the lock for a shared resource, and other sessions are waiting for it. Let's say, for example, take the example of our previous thing when we explain about locking. Let's say we have one box and we have say two persons, right? So basically, now you tell that when this person is going to come and access this box, so then he comes and then he put a lock here, right? And then if after that, while this person is using this box, that means while this person has already put a lock in this box, let's say this person is coming and try to use. So what is going to happen? He just needs to going to wait in front of him. Okay, so he just need to wait in front of the box, and that is essentially what is blocked. So basically what we say that if say this is number one and number two, so we say that number one is currently holding the lock and person number two is blocked. And then imagine if you have another person, they're all trying to wait for accessing this box. All of them will be blocked until person number one release the lock. So until the person number one release the lock, then person number two or three or four who is going to access this thing. So essentially blocking is not a good idea. Okay, so always we need to try to do something so that we can avoid blocking. Essentially, in case of all the particular the DML statements that can block are insert, update, delete, select for update, and merge basically essentially something like insert and update. Okay, so essentially all these 5 types of DML statement can lead to you blocking, and in almost all cases we can avoid blocking by having some technique. So what we're going to do in this video, we're going to discuss all these 5 scenarios when they are going to block, and then give you some example how to basically avoid blocking, which is not good in a DBMS. Okay, so the first example I'm going to take is insert. So let's assume that I have a table T, and this table T has a column called A. Okay, and then this A is a primary key. That means in table T I can have 1 2 3 4. I cannot have 1 2 3 2 1 because this is duplicating. Okay, so what essentially I need to have I have a table T, and I'm trying to insert into the table T from 2 sessions. So let's say this is session 1. So let's say this is SQL plus 1, and from this SQL plus 1 I'm going to write a statement called insert into T values 1. All right, so I have another SQL plus, and then from that SQL plus I'm going to do say insert into T values 2. So in that case, this is going to be inserted, this is going to be inserted, but remember we have not committed it. Okay, so let's say in this SQL plus I'm going to do another insert into T values 1. What is going to happen? So remember, we already have inserted 1, and since it's a primary key we cannot have a duplicate value. So in that case this session is going to be blocked. The reason is that we cannot have multiple values, duplicate values, where we have a constraint, where we have a primary key constraint. So let's take an example what I just talked right now. So describe table. So this shows that table T has a column A, and then if I do select star from T, I don't get anything, so no rows are selected right now. So this is my one session, or this is a session, and also I have another SQL plus, this is my second session. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to insert into T values say 1. Okay, so well and good, it's inserted, and then one row created. but notice that this is not committed yet. Okay, so now I go to this session, and then since it's not committed, if I do select star from T, it should give me no rows selected. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert into T values, say 1. So if I want to do that, this is going to blocked. Blocked means just hang, because it's not going to, SQL plus is just basically, it is just this insert statement is given to this to the submitted to the database, but we are not able to insert it. The reason is that this session which started to insert the value 1 first, it is putting a lock on that. Okay, and then since this is a primary key constraint, therefore Oracle is not allowing to insert a duplicate value. And let's say if what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll back. That means, okay, I decided at some point of time that no, I don't want to insert the value 1. If I do a rollback, then transaction is complete, and then you see that now I have inserted the value 1. So let's say so this is how it's going to make sure that integrity constraint is remain, and then whoever is going to, in this kind of scenario, who is going to insert first, he is going to, that session is going to keep the lock, and the other session is going to be waiting until that lock is released. If the lock is released on two conditions, either you do a rollback or do a commit. If we do a rollback in session 1 as we did here, then session 2 can insert. If you do a commit here, instead of rolling back, if you could have done a commit here, then this is going to give you a error saying that primary key evaluation is reported, and it's not able to insert that value 1. So essentially, how do you solve this thing? So this kind of scenario can happen. So insert into T, values 1. So here is a deal. Whenever you are dealing with a primary key, do not insert manually like 1, 2, 3. Instead, you create a sequence. Okay, and then you create a sequence, and sequence will always guarantee that you will have a unique value. Okay, so if I do that, then what is going to happen is that I'm going to every time I'm calling the next value of the sequence, I'm going to generate an unique value. So therefore there will not be any condition when I'm trying to insert two duplicate values at a time. Okay, so the solution to this kind of problem when we have a primary key constraint there and we are trying to insert is to use sequence. Okay, so now next go to the next statement. Next scenario is update. So here what I'm going to do, I have two tables. I've created P and Q, and I'm going to show you something interesting how this thing. So basically in session 1, so let me just basically commit so that if anything, okay, sorry, I made a mistake in spelling, so I committed. Okay, so now if I want to do, I have two more table, so I describe P is that P has one column A, and let me describe Q. Right, so Q has one column. So let's say select star from P. So I have a like a column that is the value of that is a row that is 9. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to update now, update P set A is equal to 10. So I update data, so one row is updated. Notice that I didn't commit. Now I go to the second session, and here I'm also trying to do update P, the same table, set A is equal to say 90. So again, look like this is hanging right now, or this session is blocked. The reason is that whenever we have a table P, and using from the session 1, okay, so this is our, let's say, session 1, we give an update. From another session we are trying to, and then we give an update, but we have not committed it. From another session, which is number 2, session number 2, we are trying to do same update. So whenever we do an update, on P, there is a lock on table P, and lock is acquired by the session 1 at this point. Whenever session 2 is going there and he's just saying that, oh well, there is a lock, I have to wait. And that is exactly what is happening here. The session 2 is waiting. When this lock is going to be released, this lock is going to be released when session 1 is either do a commit or a rollback. Okay, so this is your update. That is, so this is basically when update is going to be blocked. And how do you solve? You can solve this problem by frequently doing a commit or rollback. And again, I would not, it's all dependent on your application logic, when you need to do a commit or when you need to roll back. But make sure that, don't wait that, a lot of time people just wait that, okay, commit is expensive and then we have to wait. It's not like that. You have to commit when you need to commit. You neither have to, wait for more time, or you neither have to do it more frequently like on a loop. So you commit whenever you require to commit, and make your application logic or make your application in such a way that you can do frequently doing and commit or rollback if you are using a OLTP system. So in that case, we are going to try to avoid, we cannot really completely ignore. We can make this chance of blocked update, you know so the probability of having, you know update which are blocked can be severely reduced. So notice that, insert we can just completely avoid by using a sequence, but in update we may not be completely avoid, but we can definitely make these chances of blocked update happening, reduced. So now take another interesting example. So we have table P, we have table Q. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to first to commit before I do the next setup demo. So just commit in both the cases. Okay, so let's say select star from Q is 90, and then if I do select star from P, so 90. Okay, so we have two tables, P and Q, and then in this window, what I'm going to do in this session, I'm going to update P, set A is equal to say 900 now. So is rows updated, and now in this, in this session, in the other session, I'm going to update Q, set A is equal to say 900. So because they are different tables, so therefore the update is not going to be blocked or nothing is going to happen. It's just going to be normal update. So in session 1 I updated P, in session 2 I updated Q. So now let's try to come to session 1 and let's try to update Q, the other table. Okay, Q set A is equal to 1000. So before we go here, just want to draw some diagram. So we have two tables. So this is my P and this is my Q, and I have two sessions. Let me just put the sessions in different. So this session, this is another session. Okay, so the first step what I did, I update P. Okay, so let me just write it. It looks like this is not a. Okay, so let me write it. So this is session 1 and this is session 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to update P and I'm going to do update Q. Okay, and then for while when the session 1 is updating updating P, table P, then what has essentially happened is that there is a lock on P, and that lock is acquired by session number 1. So obviously let's say this lock is under session number 1. Then when I'm updating Q, session number 2 is going to acquire a lock for this. Okay, so this is the scenario right now when I've done this update P, and then in other session I do update Q, and this is how the things are right now. Now while this thing going on, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back to session number 1. I'm trying to update Q. So if I'm trying to update Q, then session 1 is now going and waiting for a lock to be released on the table Q. Alright, so that is what is going to happen if the moment I'm going to do sys Q, then is waiting, so is blocked. So now session 1 is blocked because it is waiting to have a lock on to have access to table Q. Now while this thing happening, I'm going to the session number 2 and I'm trying to update P. So if I'm trying to update P, then session number 2 is going to come and then come to the table P, and then he the session number 2 finds out that, well, there is a lock already, that is already the resource P or table P is already having a locked, and that lock is done by number 1. So therefore it is going to come and then wait for there. And this is, so now what essentially happening, session 1 is blocked on a lock that is held by session number 2, and session number 2 is blocked on a lock that is held by session number 1, and this is called deadlock. Right, so one is blocked and another is blocked. So starting from very, I think probably Oracle 8i, Oracle is going to determine, so determine the deadlocks, and it is going to go and then basically find a victim. Okay, so it will choose one of this session to be victim and roll back that work. Okay, so this is what is the concept of deadlock, and let's try to do that thing is here. So now I'm going to update here. This is my session number 2. So update P, set A is equal to say 1000. See, like what happens when I did this, Oracle detected a deadlock and then it rolled back this one. So it rolled back update Q, set A is equal to 1000. That has been rolled back. That means Oracle chooses either one of these sessions to be rolled back, and in this case probably it has chosen this session to be rolled back, and then what it did, it is rolling back this update, and once this update is rolled back, then what we see is this is no more is locked. However, the other session, because so basically this session is coming out of the blocking, so that is no more waiting. Then what we can do probably a commit here in the session 1, so that other session is going to be unblocked. Okay, so this is a deadlock, and deadlock is being taken care primarily by Oracle, and when it's detected, when Oracle detects a deadlock, then it chooses one of the session whose work needs to be rolled back, and in this case it has chosen the session number 1 to be rolled back. And once we roll back that thing, so then one of this session is coming out of blocked mode. So once it comes out of the blocked mode, we can basically do a commit or rollback, so that the other can also come from blocked mode. So the answer again, how to avoid, by doing a commit and rollback. So here's the next scenario, that is delete. So delete also can cause blocking, and then we will take a very specific scenario, and that scenario is something like this. I just want to explain you first, what we have a table K, and this table K has a primary key on A. Table K has a column A, and then we have a primary key set on that column. Then what I have to do, I have another table called L, and L has a column A, and this A column of L table is referencing to this. So basically this is a reference key, and the reference key is referencing to the table K. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert 1 and 2 to this table K. So since 1 and 2 is inserted, then what I'm going to do, I can insert now value 1, because reference key means like that whatever is we are going to insert, that must have that should be there in the parent table. So I can insert 1. Then what I'm going to do, so let me basically do all these things on the SQL Plus, and then we're going to explain you the next setup, and then we'll just try to find out why delete is going to be blocked. Okay, so first basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to commit so that my previous transactions are complete or rolled back or whatever. So I commit here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I have already written this thing, so I'm going to just copy and paste. So I'm creating table K. All right, then so basically what I did, I'm creating table K with A as a number as a primary key, and then I'm going to create table L, and this L table has a column called B, which is referencing to table K, which is referencing to the primary key on table K, which is A. So there's syntax for that. So two tables are got created. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert value 1, I'm going to insert value 2 to table K. Okay, and after that what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a commit. All right, so far so good, so we don't have any problem. And then let's go to session number 2. Okay, and in session number 2, let's insert to table L, because if you see, table L is the reference key, and we have already inserted 1 and 2 in the primary key in the parent table, that is on K. So therefore we can insert 1 here in the child table. So let's try to do that. Insert into L values 1. So one row created. So while in session 2 we have inserted a we insert a value. What we are trying to do here, now let's go back to the session 1, and we're going to try to delete from K. Okay, so if you want to do delete from K, it's going to blocked. And let's try to find out why this delete is blocked. So now let's go back. So what we have inserted a reference key which value is 1 right now. Now we didn't commit. Okay, so we have not committed it. So what we're trying to do here, in coming back to session number 1, we are trying to delete from K. So if you want to delete from K, so this all 1 and 2 will go away. So do you think that you are going to you are starting a transaction where you are entering a child, and that child has not yet, we just say that okay, like we are just going to commit, but we have not committed. So therefore what is going to happen is going to put a lock on this row which is called 1, because this is already, there is a relationship between K and L, that's the primary key, foreign key, and then for this parent there is already a child. And what you can do, since the lock is placed on this table, on this row, when you are deleting, it is not allowing to do that. So what is saying, just first do a commit here, and then you can delete. And now let's say if I do a commit here, then it is giving me some error, and this error is interesting also. But what it's saying is that you cannot delete from K when you have a child record is found. So that means, so after I commit, so after I commit this in this table, so this 1 is one value is permanent, and then whenever I'm trying to delete, so that so the lock is over now, so lock is no more there. And then when the lock is not there, when I'm trying to delete this 1, then it is giving you another error, that is integrity constraint error, that you cannot delete when you have a child available. So in this case, delete can also cause you blocking, and then again we solve that problem by either committing or roll back or rolling back. Okay, the last one is about the last DML that we're going to discuss is about select for update. So if you know, like say let's say we have a table P, and if I'm doing just select star from P, there will be no lock on this. But if you do select star from P for update, in that case what I'm saying, whenever I'm selecting this, the rows in table P, I'm putting a lock. The reason because of this for update clause. So because for update clause, I believe that I'm going to update something later on. Therefore what Oracle is going to do, when it gets, with select for update, it is going to block the complete row. So now, so the complete table. So now if we have a lock on this table P, then let's say some another user is going to try to do a update. In that case, that update is going to, because for to make an update you need to acquire a lock, and in this case it cannot acquire a lock because select for update is holding that lock. Okay, or else in another scenario what you can do, so we have, let's say we are doing an update on set table T, and while the moment we update the table T, then table T is table T has a lock. Now some another session is going to do select star from T for update. In that case, this select star from T for update is going to wait because it needs to have acquire a lock. But already the session the other session is basically already acquired the lock. Therefore, whenever this select is going, this select is going to wait for lock to be acquired. Right? But it's also not a good idea to just wait for something because you cannot do other works, right? So what you can do, you can put a clause called no wait. If you put a clause called no wait, in that case what's going to happen is that this is going to give an error, throw an error saying that resource is too busy, don't try it now. So you cannot select, but you don't need to wait for that. So that means this blocking can also be avoided in this case. So that's all about blocking, and then blocking, as you know, is a bad thing and we should be avoided. And then we have discussed 5 such scenarios where we can avoid blocking. And then the last statement is about merge, and merge is a combination of insert and update. So therefore whatever tricks that we use for insert and update, those tricks should be also applicable if a merge is being blocked.